Welcome to the Brazil and Beyond Stories and War channel. In today's episode, we will talk about Operation Riga, a secret mission conducted by Mossad, the Israeli Secret Service, to hunt down and eliminate an SS officer on Brazilian soil. In the mid-20th century, one of the most feared war criminals found refuge here in Brazil. His name was Herbert Cukurs, the man behind the massacre of thousands of Jews during World War II. Herbert Cukurs was a renowned Latvian pilot, journalist, and aeronautical engineer. Among his exploits was a flight from Riga, the capital of Latvia, to Tokyo in a plane he had built. However, his reputation changed dramatically during the German occupation of the Baltic states with Operation Barbarossa. He joined the SS forces and led brutal actions against the Jewish population. Cukurs played an active role in the massacre of over 30,000 Jews in the Rumbula forest, quickly rising in prominence due to his brutality, earning the nickname the Riga Executioner or the Riga Butcher. His list of crimes is extensive, and it would be inappropriate to describe his methods here. After the end of the war, like many other Nazis, Cukurs fled to South America. On March 4, 1946, he arrived in Brazil, where he tried to live a quiet life with his family. He entered the country legally without even changing his name, as his documentation shows. Cukurs told the authorities that he was a Latvian refugee, a farmer, and that he risked his life trying to save Jewish women. He initially lived in Copacabana, where he opened a business offering boat tours, a seaplane, and renting out the famous pedal boats on the Rodrigo de Freitas lagoon. I was even at the address where he lived, but today there is a restaurant there. Cukurs was in the process of obtaining Brazilian citizenship, and everything was going well until the Jewish community of Rio de Janeiro recognized him as the Butcher of Riga. Of course, the news made the front page of the newspaper and Cukurs' businesses were vandalized. He was forced to move to São Paulo with his family, under the protection of the Brazilian Secret Service, DOPS, Department of Political and Social Order, which granted Herbert Cukurs a license to carry weapons in self-defense. Cukurs acquired a Beretta .25 caliber pistol and lived constantly armed. The Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, was not about to forget. After successfully capturing Adolf Eichmann in 1960 in Argentina, Cukurs believed he would be next. A Mossad agent was sent to Brazil with a clear mission: to gain Cukurs' trust. Under the false identity of an Austrian businessman, the agent approached Cukurs, participating in meetings and even taking tourist flights with him. In a short time, the two became great friends. In February 1965, aware of the protection provided by the Brazilian government, the Israeli agent convinced Cukurs to travel to Uruguay, where he would be unprotected, arguing that they were going to open a company and needed Cukurs' opinion. In the rented house in Montevideo, four other Mossad agents were waiting, wearing only underwear. Who am I to question the Mossad's methods? Cukurs' resistance was fierce. In total, there were 5 agents trying to immobilize Cukurs who, despite being 65 years old, made this mission impossible. Even though he was strangled with a steel cable, he managed to free his arm and pulled out his Beretta pistol. Cukurs' friendly agent quickly grabbed his arm and took the gun, breaking his own finger in the process. With no other option, they attacked Cukurs with a hammer and finished him off with 2 shots. The executioner of Riga was finally executed. The original plan was to interrogate him to find out the whereabouts of other Nazis like Joseph Mengele, the Angel of Death, and later read the full indictment of his crimes, but it was not possible. They put Cukurs' body in a trunk, and inside they wrote the following message. Verdict. In view of the gravity of the crimes committed by Herbert Cukurs, the accusation that he was personally responsible for the murder of 30,000 men, women, and children, and considering the appalling cruelty shown by Herbert Cukurs in committing the crimes, we sentence the aforementioned Cukurs to death. He was executed on February 23, 1965 by those who never forget. On March 16, 1965, a Brazilian weekly magazine published an interview with Cukurs' widow, in which she assured that her husband, before leaving on a trip to Uruguay, had told her, "If something happens to me, the only one responsible will be my new Austrian friend. I will not be responsible for anything," confirming that Cukurs had never trusted him 100%. Some say that the operation was a disservice to international law because there was no due process or right to a full defense. On the other hand, some argue that the Jews did not have such a right either. Finally, I would like to thank you for your presence and also express my condolences not only to the Jewish people, but to all those whose lives were affected by the war, including the German people. See you in the next episode.